All right, hello people watching this video. This is box and whisker plots. This is the second half of 8-4. Let's jump right in. This top box right here tells you about the distribution. So we have symmetric, and then these two don't make sense at all. This is like yesterday, where if you have the majority of your data on the right side, it's technically negatively skewed or left skewed. That makes absolutely no sense to me, but that's the way that it works. Okay, negatively or left skewed is everything's on the right side. Okay, positively or right skewed is when your box and the majority of your data is on the left side. Make sense? Not really, like that's just how it works. Okay, so that is talking about how everything is distributed. Okay, so that is the distribution, is what they call it, distribution. All right, down here, we're going to talk, we're not going to do example 2, we're not going to do example 3, we're going to do example 4 on the back side, but I'm going to write some stuff down on the bottom here. When you're doing a box and whisker plot, so box and whisker, you need what's called the 5-number summary. And here is the 5-number summary. There are 5 numbers that you need to know for the 5-number summary, and they are the minimum number, the maximum number, the median, which is the middle number, minimum, maximum, median, and then you have what's called your Q1 and your Q3. Okay? Q1, Q3. Now, these Q1 and Q3 are called quartiles. We did box and whisker plots at the very, very beginning of the year, so if you remember that. And these numbers tell you where your stuff is at for your box. Like this is your minimum. The first edge of your box is Q1, median goes in the middle, Q3, and then the right side is your maximum. Do you remember doing that? Okay, that's where your numbers come from. Got it? All right, I'm going to put some examples off to the side over here just really quick to show you how your median changes.
Wait, does that say qualifies?
Quartiles. That's okay. Quartiles. Okay, now technically the median, if you want to think about it this way, is Q2. Median is Q2 or the middle quartile, right? Like the second quarter. Got it? Second quarter. All right, that's what you need for your 5-number summary. All right, let's talk about 5-number summary. Can I move on to the next thing?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Let's say, for example, put off to the side over here, okay? I'm making up some numbers. Let's say you have a data set that your numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? Let's say those are your numbers in your data set. I'm going to do another example where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are numbers in your data set. I'm going to show you how your median and stuff changes, okay? Then let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. And then one more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll practice finding the Q1, Q3, all that good stuff with those numbers, okay? What? All of them. Yep. It won't take very long. Okay. In every single one of these, 1 is the minimum, right? Like min. Okay. Your maximum is the last number in order. So this is a max. 6 is your max. These are easy to figure out. 7 is your max. And 8 is your max, right? Maximum numbers. Okay, now finding the Q1, Q3 median, those are a little bit more work. Okay, which one do you find first? Q1, median, or Q3?
Median.
You find the median first, okay? So out of these 5 numbers, if those are my 5 numbers, the median would be the 3rd number. This is the median. Now, the rule is that if you have an exact middle number, you toss him out, and then you find the Q1 by finding the median of the first half, right? But you toss out the middle number, right? So what would be the Q1 here? 1.5. It would be halfway between 1 and 2. Do you see that? Okay. 4 and 5. Your Q3 would be 4.5. Do you see how that works? Okay. You toss out the 3. Now, that is not true for when you have an even number of numbers. So what is your median for this set?
3.5.
3 and 4, you have 2 middle numbers, so your median would be 3.5, okay? Now, since 3.5 does not actually live in your data set, you are allowed to include 3 when you find your Q1, right? So what would Q1 be?
2.
2. That's Q1, and Q3 would be just 5, right? Okay, so unless you have an exact middle number, you get to use it in your data set, okay? Like this one. There are 7 numbers here. My exact middle number would be?
4.
4. That's my median. So I'm going to throw him out. And to find the middle here, that would be?
2.
2. And this guy would be 6. Does that make sense? When I have 8 numbers, my numbers will be 4 and 5. So 4.5 is the median. And then here, I get to use 4, and I get to use like all the way to 1. So this is my first set of data. What will Q1 be? 2.5. 2.5. Am I going too fast?
6.5.
And then 6.5 here, right, is Q3. Questions about that? Okay. So just kind of the rules for how you go through, right? You throw it out if there's an exact median, but you include it if there's not. Got it? Those are the rules. That was kind of messy. Okay? All right, we're skipping example 2, example 3. We're going to go to example 4, which is the very, very back page. And this is where we're comparing 2 of them, 2 box and whisker plots. This is really beneficial to look at data, okay? What we're doing here is these are football teams. American football. American football teams. Okay. What? They're soccer, right? American football. Okay. The points scored per game by a football team. So in 2013, there are 16 numbers here. That means we played 16 games, right? In the first game, we only scored 7 points. In the second game, we scored 51 points. In the third game, we scored 24 points, etc., right? Okay, in 2014, the first game, we scored 20 points, then 9, then 3, right? And so on. We still had the same number of games in 2013 and 2014, but what we're trying to compare is, did we score more points per game in 2013 than 2014? Like, that might be beneficial to figure out, like, the senior class maybe graduated in 2013, so were they a good class and now we suck, right? Does it look like we suck now?
Pretty good. Pretty sure.
It kind of does look like we aren't doing very well, because 2014 has some lower numbers, right? You see that? So we're going to see, like, did the seniors graduate and leave us with nothing? That's kind of what it looks like. We're going to do that, okay? So here we go. We're going to compare 2013 and 2014. Okay, and it asks for the 5-number summary. I'm going to do that up here. The 5-number summary is the min, the max, the median, Q1, Q3. Those numbers is what we need. We got to put them in order now. That's why you only have one homework problem.
No, I don't want.
You only have one problem for homework.
Really?
I got rid of number 2 and you only have to do number 3.
Sorry.
And number 1?
We got rid of
Number 1 we did yesterday as a histogram. Okay? All right, 2013, 2014.
Wait.
They're the same thing. All you have to do is write down.
Wait.
Those are the 5-number summary.
What?
Okay?
Try.
All right, ready?
Hell no.
Standard deviation.
Don't worry about standard deviation. We're skipping that. Whoop. Yep. We'll talk about standard deviation at the end of the chapter, but not too in depth, okay? All right, 2013. There are 16 numbers, okay? Here's my strategy, 16 numbers. When I rewrite these numbers, I'm going to write 8 numbers here and then go down to the next line and write 8 numbers there, right? That's my strategy because, for one thing, I'm pressed for, like, I don't have very much room. And for another thing, my median will be in between this number and this number, right? Like if I write 8 on the top and 8 on the bottom, okay? So I'm going to do it exactly like that. All right, let's go in order. Number 7 is the first number. And then, help me out here, 14, then 17, then 20, then 21, then 22 24s, so 24. Then we have 3 27s. I'm going to put a 27 here, and then I'm going to go down to the next line. 27, okay? There's 3 27s. No, is there 4 27s?
4.
Is there 4 27s?
Yeah, you missed
Yeah.
the one on
No, wait. There's
Wait.
3.
There's
No,
3
just
27s. There's only
Just
3.
3.
27. Okay?
And then 120.
Then we've got a 28. We've got 2 30s. We've got a 33, a 35, and a 51. I went through that really fast.
I see.
Okay. All right, from there, we're going to do our min, max, median, Q1, Q3. Min is 7. Max is 51. The median is the middle number. I have 16 numbers, so if I separate in half, will you have an exact middle?
No.
No. You'll have 8 numbers over here and 8 numbers over here. These are the numbers 1 through 8, and these are the numbers 9 through 16. So the 8th and the 9th number will be your middle, right? The 8th number is 27, and the 9th number is 27. So my median is going to be 27, yeah? Now, do you have to cross those off, or do you get to include them? You can include them. So in my first half of data, I'm looking at these 8 numbers, right? Are you going to have an exact middle number for your Q1? No, it's going to be somewhere in between 20 and 21, right? So 20.5 is going to be Q1. Okay? In the second set of 8 numbers, it's going to be in between 30 and 30, which is 30. There's my 2013 5-number summary. Now I'm going to do the same thing for 2014. Got it? 2014. These numbers are smaller, so here we go. I see 3 3s. 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3. 3, 3, 3. Then I see a 6 and a 7 and a 9. 6, 7, 9. Then I see a 10, 2 10s. 10, 10. I think it's a 6. We count it as a 6. Because you can't score 5 on football.
I mean, you can.
Well, yeah, actually. It's just very hard. Yes, it doesn't happen very often.
It's like one at the top of it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 8 numbers. I'm going to go down to the next line. Starting with 13, and then 14, and then 2 20s. 20, and 20, and 21, and 23, and 37, and 41. There you go. Okay, there's my 16 numbers. Okay, now again, I did it 8 and 8, so I can see where my middle is, right?
Yeah.
3 is my min, 41 is my max. My 2 middle numbers are
10 and 13.
10 and 13. What's in between 10 and 13?
12.
11.5.
So you would do 10 plus 13 divided by 2. That's 23 divided by 2, which is going to be a decimal. 11.5, right? So the median is 11.5. Now I take the first half of my data, and those 8 numbers is 6 and 7, right in between 6 and 7. So Q1 is 6.5, okay? In the last 8 numbers, my middle is
20.5.
20.5. Okay, this is interesting for me to note. Check this out. 20.5 is my Q3 versus 24.5 was my Q1 for the other one. This is going to get interesting. All right, here we go. Here's how we do this. Okay, I told you at the very beginning when we were doing like chapter 0, like at the beginning of the year. You remember me saying this?
No.
Don't write this down.
No.
Chapter 0 at the beginning of the year. I hate this. Do you remember that?
No, but I hate it.
Don't do that.
It was horrible.
What is it?
Don't do that.
It was horrible.
Look at how
It
I've
was
labeled
such
my
a
box and
bro.
whisker plot.
It was just so bad.
Really? I just
First day of algebra.
So,
I just
no, we don't want squiggles either.
I
So
was
what we
just,
do
like, sitting there and I was like,
is I create a ruler at the
I
bottom.
understand.
Okay? I create a ruler at the bottom. That's how I do it. Okay? And then that's going to set the stage for how I'm going to label everything else. Now, there you go.
Jack Canterbury come in
No, he did not. They said he is. What was he doing?
with the active?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. All right. So
Ethan
I need to go with a minimum number. Okay. But I have 2 box and whisker plots to take into consideration. So what is my absolute minimum number? 3. What's my absolute maximum number? 51. So I need to go from like something to something that incorporates 3 and 51. Now I'm going to start at 0 because that's really nice. That's pretty close to 3. I'm going to start at 0. I can go to 0 to 55, but I think 0 to actually 60 is nicer because I can then eyeball where the halfway mark is, and that will be at 30. Okay? Now, 0 to 30,
20 we can.
then if I do like, I'm going to do this in thirds and go by tens, right? 10, 20, 30, right? Like that. Okay? Rather than splitting them in half again. I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, and then separate this in half.
Teachers, please dismiss the golfers.
40, 50, 60. Okay? You can start at the 15-minute mark, Ethan, if you want.
Okay.
Right at about 15 minutes, okay? All right, now I have my units labeled at the bottom. Now I'm going to put my 2013 graph up here, and I'm going to put like my 2014 graph right below that. So I'm going to have a box and whisker plot here and a box and whisker plot there. Does that make sense? Okay? And then we're going to compare, and then we'll be done.
Nice.
All right, 2013. This, you might need like a straight edge if you've got a ruler or something, or just make sure you're eyeballing really good. My minimum number is 7. So 7 would be like right here. I'm going to go straight up to 2013. I'm going to put my dot right there, right? That's about at the 7 mark. If you need a straight edge to help you go straight up, that would be fine. 20.5 is right here. I'm going to go straight up from there, but this is the edge of the box. So I'm going to put the left edge of the box. 27 is my next mark, which would be about right here. So I'm going to go straight up and about there for 27. Questions as to what I'm doing? The right edge of the box is on 30. So here's where my box is. There's where my whisker is. Okay. Then I make my right whisker, and he's going to be at 51. So about straight up from there. Just do the best you can. And that's what he looks like. There's my box and whisker plot for 2013. Okay. Now, because we're using the same ruler for 2014, we're going to put 2014 right below it. And then we can compare the two, right? It makes it really nice for me to do that comparison really easy. Okay, 2014. Am I going too fast? No?
It's fine.
Okay, 2014. We have, our minimum is 3 now. So about there-ish. Quarter 1 is 6.5. That is like really close down there. That's where the edge of my box starts. Next spot is 11.5, straight up from there. 20.5. About there. Okay, these two should be at the same spot. The left edge of your box and the right edge of your box should be both at 20.5. You see how that works? Okay, and then my right side is 41, so like that. All right, let's draw some conclusions here. What shall we conclude?
2013 scored more
Higher points per game, right? 2014, we kind of sucked a little bit. We had a lot of low-scoring games. So either we just had, like, the other teams had really good defense, or our offense was just, like, in the toilet, right?
What can I say?
Like, all of our leading scorers were probably not with us in 2014. So that's how that works. Now, question. All right, before we talk about the distribution and how it's skewed and stuff, okay, let's discuss this, okay? This number, you don't have to label these. I'm going to, though. 7, this is 20.5, this is 27, this is 30, and this is 51, okay? Let's talk the number of games that lives in each region. Do you see how I have 4 chunks here? I have this chunk, I have this chunk, and I have this chunk, and I have this chunk, right? Which chunk had the most number of games in that region? The most number of games. This is a trick question.
Equal amount.
Ah. There were 16 numbers, true? 4 of those games scored between 7 and 20.5 points. 4 of those games scored between 20 and 27. 4 of those games scored between 27 and 30 points. And 4 of those games scored between 30 and 31, or 51 points. There is the same number of games in each one of those regions, except the deal is that probably this chunk, those games are more spread apart, right? So we had some outliers in there probably like with the 51. Does that make sense? But there's the same number of games in each one of those quartiles, right? It's kind of like in a basketball game. Every single quarter of the game is the same amount of time, but usually the fourth quarter, when they're stopping the clock like every 5 seconds, that takes forever, right? It's kind of the same deal here. There are the same number of games in each quarter, because we've made it to be that way, right? It's the median, all the way through. Same number of games in each quartile, but some of them are more spread apart than others, right? Okay, so keep that in mind, all right? So that was kind of a trick question. Same thing with the bottom one. They're the same 4 games within each chunk there, okay? All right, let's talk about distribution. I would definitely say 2014 is how skewed?
Right, or, yeah.
right skewed because it's on the left side, so it's right skewed. So I have to think right skewed, which is also called positively skewed. Okay, so right skewed or positively skewed for the 2014. What do you think about 2013?
Either right or even.
Yeah, I would say he is slightly right skewed, but he is more, I'm just going to say more symmetric than 2013, right? He's more in the middle. More symmetric than, did I say 2013? I meant 2014. More symmetric than 2014. So he has some high scoring games, some low scoring games, and then a bunch of games that are right in the middle, okay? Versus like check out 2014. Okay? This right here is about half like of my scoring, right? Like the lowest score here was 3, the highest score here was 41. This is about the halfway mark, right? But what percent of my games scored below half points? Like how many games are living in this region right here? What percent of my games that I played is from here
75.
and beyond? 75%, right? That's the chunks. There's 3 chunks. So 75% of my games were in the bottom half of my scoring. Does that make sense? Like to think about it that way? Okay, so yeah, like we did not do too great in 2014. The games that we did score high, we probably were playing some really not great teams and we just got lucky, right? We were not playing very good in 2014. I don't know. Anyway, so it's helpful to make those comparisons. I have done this before, actually comparing like 2 classes. So like I would compare like the 7th period and the 8th period, right? Like maybe your test scores or whatever, how they distributed. Now, maybe not this year because there's only 4 kids in the 7th period class, right? So that would like be kind of weird to do. But, you know, like I could certainly do that from one class to the other, like how they score, okay? So good tool to use when you're trying to compare things. Got it? That is all that I have. Your homework assignment is to do. You should have done number 1 from yesterday, right?
No.
For your histogram, okay? On the back side, skip number 2 and just do number 3. You're comparing 2 data sets though. So you're going to do the box and whisker plots, one on top of each other, right? And then compare the distributions. So number 3, first thing, do 5-number summary and list out your numbers in order, okay? Any questions before I stop?
Nope.
All right, goodbye people.